The night was a suffocating shade of black as I drove down the dirt road leading to the infamous Holloway estate. Locals had whispered for decades about the horrors inside the rotting mansion perched atop Raven's Bluff. Stories of people entering and never leaving. They called it cursed, haunted, and worse. Tonight, I would find out for myself. I parked at the rusting wrought iron gate, its spiked tips like the teeth of a waiting predator. The house loomed beyond, its silhouette jagged against the overcast sky. Shattered windows resembled hollow eyes, and the peeling paint of the walls seemed like rotting flesh in the dim moonlight. As I grabbed my equipment, a flashlight, voice recorder, EMF reader, and a small knife, a wave of unease gripped me. With every step toward the house, the wind grew colder, carrying whispers I couldn't quite make out. Gravel crunched underfoot like brittle bones. The gate creaked as I pushed it open, its hinges screaming a warning I chose to ignore. The front door was swollen and warped, but it gave way with a groan that seemed to echo into the depths of the house. The air inside was damp and heavy, reeking of mildew and something metallic, like blood. My flashlight beam pierced the gloom, revealing a grand staircase ahead, its banister clawed and splintered as if something massive had dragged its talons across it. Faded wallpaper peeled away in jagged strips, exposing mold-riddled wood beneath. I activated the EMF reader. It spiked immediately. "Not a good sign," I muttered, my voice unnervingly loud in the oppressive silence. The first floor was an eerie museum of decay. Dust-choked furniture stood as if frozen in time. A chandelier hung precariously, its crystals swaying gently despite the still air. I shone my flashlight across the living room. A piano sat in the corner, its keys yellowed and broken. When I turned away, a single note rang out, sharp and jarring. My pulse quickened. "Who's there?" I demanded, spinning around. The flashlight beam danced wildly over empty air. The silence that followed was deafening. As I moved deeper into the house, the temperature dropped further. My breath fogged in the beam of my flashlight. I climbed the stairs, each step groaning under my weight. At the top, a long hallway stretched into darkness, lined with doorways that yawned like open graves. My EMF reader went wild, the lights flickering erratically. "If there's anyone here, make yourself known," I called out. My voice echoed, warped, as if the house itself was mocking me. A faint scratching sound came from behind one of the doors. Slowly I approached, my flashlight trembling in my grip. The door creaked open, revealing a child's bedroom. A tiny bed sat beneath a cracked window, its sheets stained and tattered. Toys lay scattered across the floor, their faces warped and melted as if exposed to intense heat. Then I saw it, a shadow in the corner, darker than the surrounding darkness. It shifted, a mass of writhing tendrils that seemed to suck the light from the room. I froze as two glowing eyes emerged, burning like embers. The figure lunged. I stumbled back, slamming the door shut. Heavy thuds pounded against the wood, but I didn't wait to see if it would hold. I ran down the hall, my heart hammering in my chest. The house seemed alive, the floorboards groaning and walls creaking as if it were breathing. I found myself at the top of a narrow staircase leading down to the basement. The air here was suffused with a coppery tang, stronger than before. My EMF reader maxed out, the lights flashing like a strobe. The stairs descended into a suffocating darkness. My flashlight barely illuminated the space ahead. The basement was cavernous, the walls lined with ancient stone slick with moisture. Chains hung from the ceiling, some ending in jagged hooks. In the center of the room stood a table, its surface stained dark with age and use. Surrounding it were crude symbols carved into the floor, pulsating faintly with an otherworldly light. The whispers returned, louder now, overlapping voices that crawled into my ears and made my skin crawl. Then I saw them, creatures slithering from the shadows. Their bodies were emaciated, their skin a sickly gray, faces devoid of features, save for mouths filled with needle-like teeth. They moved with a grotesque, jerking fluidity, their claws clicking against the stone floor. One leapt at me. I swung my flashlight, connecting with a sickening crunch. It screeched, a sound so shrill it made my ears ring. More of them emerged, their numbers multiplying with every heartbeat. I backed away, fumbling for my knife. A claw raked across my arm, searing pain shooting through me. Blood dripped onto the floor, and the creatures reacted as if energized by it, their movements growing more frantic. Desperation surged. I slashed wildly, the blade meeting resistance as it tore through flesh that oozed a foul black ichor. I didn't see the blow that knocked me down. My head hit the stone floor, stars exploding behind my eyes. When my vision cleared, I was on my back, the creatures looming over me, their jagged teeth inches from my face. "No," I screamed, driving the knife into the chest of the nearest one. It convulsed, a high-pitched wail ripping from its throat as it disintegrated into ash. Taking advantage of their momentary hesitation, I scrambled to my feet and bolted for the stairs. The whispers turned into a deafening roar, the walls trembling as if the house itself was enraged. The staircase stretched impossibly long, each step a monumental effort as if gravity had doubled. Claws grazed my back, tearing through my jacket. I reached the top and slammed the basement door shut, sliding a nearby cabinet in front of it. The pounding started immediately. The door shuddering under the force of the creature's blows, I staggered into the foyer, blood dripping from my wounds. The front door stood just ahead, but the house wasn't done with me. Shadows coalesced, forming humanoid shapes with elongated limbs and faces twisted in agony. They reached for me, their touch ice-cold and searing at once. "Let me go," I shouted, shoving through them. Each contact drained my strength, my vision dimming as I stumbled forward. Just as my hand closed around the doorknob, a force yanked me back. I fell, my head striking the floor. The world tilted. I felt something grab my ankle, dragging me back toward the basement. With the last of my strength, I pulled the knife from my belt and slashed wildly, the blade meeting resistance. The grip loosened, and I scrambled forward, throwing myself through the front door. I hit the ground outside, cold air filling my lungs. Behind me, the house groaned, its silhouette pulsating as if alive. The door slammed shut on its own, and the whispers ceased. I limped back to my car, every step agony. My arm throbbed where the creature had clawed me, the wound burning with an unnatural heat. I started the engine and sped away, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror until it was swallowed by the darkness. Even now, I can feel it watching me. The wound refuses to heal, the edges blackened and festering, and at night, I hear the whispers. I left the Holloway estate alive, but not whole. It took something from me, something I can never get back, and it's only a matter of time before it comes to collect the rest. The thought gnaws at me, a constant reminder that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. In the days that followed, I tried to make sense of it all. The symbols carved into the basement floor haunted my thoughts. I scoured books and online forums, searching for answers. They matched ancient sigils used in rituals to summon and bind entities from other realms. But who had performed the rituals, and why? The questions piled up like corpses, offering no solace. My sleep is plagued by nightmares now, vivid recreations of the creature's featureless faces and jagged teeth. Sometimes, I wake to the sound of faint scratching at my bedroom window. Other times, I'll catch glimpses of shadows darting across the room, vanishing when I turn to look. One night, I woke to find the wound on my arm glowing faintly in the dark. The pain was excruciating, as if something was trying to claw its way out from beneath my skin. I'm terrified of what that might mean. I've begun to wonder if the house marked me somehow, branded me as its own. And if that's true, I fear I'll never truly escape. The Holloway estate wasn't just a haunted house. It was a gateway to something far worse, something ancient and hungry. I don't know how much longer I can hold on, but one thing is certain. The house hasn't finished with me yet.